Welcome to the Gutsy Granny and my fabulous interviews with special people. Today's interview is with a friend of mine who we were just trying to figure out how long it's been, like 30 years.
We don't mention years.
We don't mention years. He also, did you date my daughter?
No,
You
we worked
date.
together. No,
You
we
worked together?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We probably shouldn't go there, should we?
Years and daughters, but let's not talk about either.
My dear friend Adam Hall, who has been in Bali now for 9-ish years.
Yeah.
And came from Sydney, from a hospitality background. And where we want to go to in this interview is how did he create an empire in Bali?
Mm-hmm.
And now what's he doing with that empire?
It's not a good time to have an empire in Bali,
No, it's definitely
for lack of a better word.
So the background, you were saying you came from Newcastle.
Yeah.
And then you got down to Sydney when
the family moved to Sydney, and I'd been living in Sydney for quite a few years and fell into hospitality when I dropped out of university and was looking for something else and sort of never really left. Just learnt the tricks of the trade and worked my way up, so.
And you were working at the Four in Hand, which is a super...
Yeah, well, that was one of my first jobs in Paddington, the Four in Hand, when I was sort of, close to 19 or something like that, and went back years later and ended up buying the lease on it.
So you've always been very entrepreneurial, let's say.
Yeah, I guess I've kind of always wanted to work for myself. I mean, I came from a father that was pretty entrepreneurial, so I kind of saw how he was...
What did he do?
He did a lot of different stuff. He was kind of involved with different things. There was a travel agent at the pub that was involved there as well. So
okay.
I kind of sort of saw the way he was working, and I guess I kind of liked that style of, he didn't seem like he was too busy all the time, but I don't know whether he kind of mastered that over a while because it wasn't working for me too well at the beginning, but it sort of appealed for me, I guess. And in hospitality, I kind of ended up learning the tricks of the trade and sort of wanting to work for myself, and I guess to do well at it, it's hard to make good money in hospitality when you're working for someone else, and it sort of made sense to...
Well, you just get used.
Try and have your own business and learn more about it as well,
Yeah. So you had the Four in Hand lease for a while, and then what was the catalyst to come to Bali?
Well, yeah, look, I had a few different businesses. I ended up having the Four in Hand, got out of there and chased a girl up to Brisbane and did some stuff up there, and then came back and I did another business which didn't go very well. It was during the GFC, and it all crumbled.
What was that?
It was a franchise, an American franchise, and we got the rights for Australia, New Zealand, and we opened up during the GFC, and I was in America when it was all melting down, and I thought, Jesus, this is not a good time to be building something, and sure enough, we ended up, it wasn't very good. So
you're an old hand at crises.
Yeah, well, look, I don't think you ever get used to them though. This has been kind of quite hard. This one's, I guess, look, they are all hard, but that was kind of the first time I'd experienced one, and that wasn't too much fun.
So then what happened? Why did you leave Sydney?
Yeah, well, that was hard work, and obviously that didn't work out very well. So I was kind of trying to bounce back, and I was doing a few bits and pieces and a few different things, and Sydney was kind of an expensive place. And and it's sort of like I love Sydney, it's home, but it's sort of kind of a hard place to bounce back from, something if you're down and out. And then the opportunity came to do something over here.
Oh, so you already had something lined up here?
Well, I was going to do something. I was actually going to go to Sri Lanka at one stage because I've been surfing over there a few times and I loved it. And I was going to do some surf retreats over there. And then the opportunity came up here in Bali, and I was speaking to my business partner now, and he found a space and we talked about it.
Which was Mexicola.
Mexicola, yeah. And
so, just to let you guys know, Mexicola, when I was running the Airbnbs, I would say to my guests, you've got to go to Mexicola because you will always have a good time. I don't know how many times I went there, and you just came back happy. You also came back pretty drunk from tequila.
Yeah. Tequila helps to make people happy that night. The next day, probably not so much. Yeah.
You'd be dancing on the tables. You'd run into people. You just always, I don't know what it was. It just was a foolproof, have a good time place.
Yeah.
How did you create that?
Look, I think we were having so much fun ourselves, to be honest. When we built it, I was living with my business partner.
That was Adrian?
Yeah, Adrian. So we had a big villa, and we're kind of living it and breathing it. And we're in there every day, and you know, it was just so much fun creating this place. And
Yeah.
it was
But
kind of
the
a bit of a
staff
perfect.
had fun too.
Yeah, and look, you know, I think we kind of the first day. I remember we opened up and it was started raining, and there was stuff that was kind of getting swept down the, you know, down the road.
Oh, we're
and
talking rain.
decorations. Yeah, it was like a hardcore Bali rain, and all our customers came inside. It was wiped out, and it was a mess. And we were all freaking out.
Yeah.
And we just bought everyone margaritas and gave them away to everyone. And everyone said, "This is great," you know, they had the best night ever. And we went. They said, and they kind of said, "This is going to be a great success by the way you've handled this."
Yes.
And it kind of, that sort of attitude, I kind of feel like filtered through to the whole place, you know. And it was just
Yeah.
you know, it was fun first. It was, you know, it sort of got a bit confused as far as building it, but, you know, it was going to be street Mexican and it was going to be something else, and then kind of just this perfect storm of
Yeah, because
and then-
it's bizarre. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you've got Jesus and Mary everywhere. You've
Yeah,
got
yeah.
candles dripping. You've
Yeah.
got this, basically, it's just one huge tin shed
yeah,
with long tables.
yeah. Well, we had a designer that was living with us as well in our villa. So when we're talking about living and breathing something, there was
Who was the
three of-
designer?
James Brown from Adelaide.
Okay.
So he was living there, and we kind of had this sort of fun time where we were kind of living and breathing it all together. And we rock up to the site and it'd be a mess, and we'd just be like, "What's going on?" You know,
Yeah.
we're painting it and scratching it, and you know, it's sort of all meant to be established in '62. It was kind of this old school Mexico. So
Yeah.
you know, so you're kind of doing stuff, and the designer was sort of telling us to do things sometimes. And we were like, "Well, why are we doing this?" You know. And-
Yeah.
But we'd always go out and have fun afterwards, and it was a process that was really enjoyable. You know, if you look back
Yeah.
at things, you kind of realise that was.
But that came across.
Yeah.
The other thing too, apart from the tequilas and the coconut rums and all the other things,
Yeah.
the food was great.
Yeah.
And I'm say was because we're temporarily
Yeah, well, it's,
in this hiatus.
yeah.
But the
Yeah.
food was always amazing. And I
Yeah.
used to love going there, and I'd say, "Oh, what should I eat, Adam?" He'd go, "Right, fine, right, gotcha."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you just like lay it on and get these, yeah, who did the food?
We had Nicolasa, who's a business partner. She's Mexican,
Right.
so she had a lot of insight into those flavours, and you know,
Yeah.
we're importing and bringing stuff from Sydney, and
I remember you asked me to bring some tins of tomato
yeah, we'll
or
bring
something.
chilies back, chipotles,
Yeah.
and different things which you couldn't get here because back in
Yeah.
Bali in that time, it's just
Yeah,
hard
yeah.
to get products or lots of different
Yeah.
great products that were, you know.
And taxed so heavily.
Yeah, so we'll kind of bring it through. You know, you bring big bags of chilies and they go through customs, and
Was
you
it
know, the
chilies
guys
I
would
had
sort
to
of, you know,
bring back?
customs would open up and be like, "What's this?" And you're like, "I promise it's chilies." You know,
Try
so,
one, try
yeah,
one.
Yeah. I actually did it one stage. I said, "Try this,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they'd try it. So it was kind of one of those funny things that people were a bit sceptical about bringing it in because you'd always be trying to get them to bring
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
in for you. But you know, it was kind of a funny thing to do. And you know, Nikki was great with food. You know, we had
Yeah.
a couple of Mexican chefs, and then we got our head chef on now, or exec chef Steve, who's
Right.
just great with all food, and he just really fine-tuned it. So, but you know, the whole idea is a lot of people didn't understand a lot of different dishes either. You know, like we had tacos and quesadillas
Yeah.
that people all know everywhere, but we wanted everyone to experience these other ones, you know, these other great dishes.
Yeah.
So we'd sort of do these banquets so that they'd get different courses and
Yeah.
try it, and people would experience the things that they hadn't tried before, which was a
Yeah.
great job, you know, which is our job to try and get people to have this different experience in Mexicola, you know. So
And I imagine it was a license to print money.
look, it's been a good business. It's fun. It's you know, it's, as I said, it's been one of those places that everyone knows, and you know,
7 years?
8 years. I think we just had a birthday in March.
Yeah.
I think that would have been our 8th birthday. I mean, it's
Yeah.
gone pretty quick.
And considering that everything's moved out towards Canggu in a different area, and it's still held strong, that people will still come to Mexicola.
Yeah, look, I hope so. I mean, I just got back from Australia, and it seems like everyone wants to go to Mexicola. Everyone's talking about getting back here. So, you know, it's an institution. Hopefully it goes
Yeah.
back to where it was, because you know, it's pretty sad going in there now. I mean, the dynamics of what's happened during COVID, you see people in there playing cards, and you know, you kind of go, this is what it is now. You know, it's sort of like a whole different beast, and you just had to try and adapt. And
Because it's
people,
a big place. It's
yeah,
not good if it's half full
yeah,
or
it doesn't
quarter
have that
full.
vibe,
You
you know.
gotta have the
And
vibe.
we've been going in and out of it, and it closes and reopens, and then you rebuild it, and sort of, you know, you kind of feel like you're back there, and it goes back down again.
And
But
how many staff have you got at Mexicola? Or,
look, we've probably had it at 200.
so
you know,
you've
we've-
had to basically lay off 200
Yeah,
people.
well, we tried to look after everyone for a long time, but that was kind of quite hard. You know, we gave it 6 months, and we paid everyone, and then but it gets to a stage where you start to run out of money. So
Yeah.
we've kind of had to put people off, and you know, we've tried to.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, the local people in Indonesia are the ones that are struggling the most, right? So
No, there's
it's
no social security here.
no, there's no support.
medical,
So it's been
nothing.
a tough time for them. So
Yeah.
You know, and also being so used to what it was,
Yes.
you know, and it all been taken away. It's
And
kind
also probably part of a big family too.
yeah,
It was a
yeah. I mean,
nice-
look, you know, we kind of said that we're going to try and look after everyone. It's just hard when you can't. So
No, I know, I know.
it's been a tough
And then
one.
from Mexicola, you went into Da Maria or Tropicola?
Well, we opened up Da Maria and Luigi's,
Yeah.
and then we've opened Tropicola,
Yep.
and then we've got another one called Uni and Two Trees, which
It's Uni you.
yeah,
I was there at dinner the other night. It was fantastic.
yeah, it's good, isn't it? Steve, that's Steve's main project. He's our exec chef, and he wanted to get back and open up a restaurant that was kind of where he could get back on the tools. For
Great
lack of a better-
wine.
Yeah, really good wine.
Great
And he's a
Aperol
great chef,
spritz.
and he loves working with seafood, and he does the seafood so well. So
Oh, it was stunning.
Yeah,
I had
yeah.
a beautiful night. Actually went on a date there.
That's nice.
Whoa, whoa.
Nice.
Well, that's very nice.
Yeah, well, that's closed now, so you know, it'll open again in a couple of weeks,
Snuck
hopefully.
in last week. Actually, it was last Thursday.
yeah,
I was
great.
there last Thursday.
Okay.
So you've got Mexicola, you've got Da Maria, you've got Tropicola.
Tropicola, yeah.
Luigi.
Tropicola's closed, obviously.
Yeah,
You know,
and
that's
then
a-
you've got your
Two Trees, which is
Two
now
Trees.
closed as well. So
so five. You had five very, very successful businesses going.
Yeah.
So where do you go now?
Well, we're just trying to make sure we get through. You know, that's the hard part, is just trying to have enough money to be able to open these things again. You know, we've been open, and every time you close and open again, it just costs money to do that. So, you know, I don't know how much longer this has to play out, but you know, it's.
Did you have to pay severance pay to all of your staff?
No, I mean, we were paying our staff anyway when they weren't working.
Yeah.
So I think contracts ran out and stuff like that. So
Okay.
you know, it's just
Because I know we had to pay severance staff to like 3 months. We didn't know that.
no, I think we looked after everyone up until their contracts were finished.
Yeah.
And then once their contracts were finished, then you know we had to start making some hard decisions. Yeah.
So you've created all these amazing things. You've now been back to Australia for 9 months,
7
7
yeah.
months.
I went back for 6 weeks and ended up there for 7 months.
Yeah, we heard that story.
Yeah. Yeah.
And where's your fascination going now? Where's your imagination? What's going to happen next? Because I know you're not going to stand still.
Look,
You're too young. At 49, you're too young.
Yeah.
You've got
Look, there's lots of things. I mean, obviously trying to get all this stuff. Well, it's been hard because you're in limbo, right? And when you're in limbo, it's kind of, you just don't know. You don't know when things are going to change. You don't know. You know, this is all just the unknown. So it's sort of hard to get in a certain, you know, frame of mind, right? So obviously it's great opening restaurants. You know, we want to do something back at the one that's Two Trees. I've got a cafe there, which, you know, might turn that into something else relatively soon. I've got a villa that I wouldn't, you know, maybe at some stage turn into a little boutique hotel, which I kind of like the idea of.
Yeah.
You know, there's things to do, but a lot of that stuff depends on what's going on everywhere else. So, you know, it's hard to be kind of with all the, you know, I'm on to plan C, D, and E now. You know, you kind of have a great big plan and picture of what you want to do, and then all of a sudden that changes once things change. And I think everyone's doing that around the world to some extent. You know, I mean, I don't know how other places have been affected and you know, in these financial sort of times, but you know, you got to start looking at different plans and start adapting. So
how do you stay optimistic? Because you're always smiling. You're
look,
always
my
happy.
life's pretty good. I love it over here. You know, like you got a lot to be thankful for. You know, it's you know, there's a lot of people worse off than I am. So I kind of enjoy, you know, as long as I can go surfing and as long as I've, you know, can have a bit of a laugh with people, I'm okay. You know, it's not, the businesses are not the be all and end all. You know, obviously you want them to work, but you know, there's always something else. You know, so, and also these kind of hard times, you get a lot out of them. You know, I remember many years ago when I went through that GFC stuff, it was the worst time of my life, and I remember thinking, Jesus, you know, how am I getting out of this? But there was things that came from that, which wouldn't have come from that if I hadn't have gone through that. If that makes sense. So
I wouldn't be doing Gutsy Granny.
Yeah,
if I hadn't have lost Eden.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
So you know, there's sort of things you look back and go, well, I only got that because of that experience. You know, and those ideas gave me confidence. You know, whether it was you know, financially great, no. But there was other things that are more important than that. So, you know, who knows what's going to come from this.
So would you say that you're motivated by money or?
No, never been motivated by money.
Right.
No, I've been motivated by having fun, really, enjoying my life. I mean, even when I was doing hospitality and Australia, I got into it because I was so loving people having fun.
Yeah.
And then I had a pub in Redfern, which was my first pub, which
And
had
how old
poker
were you when you had
machines.
the first pub?
I was probably about 29 or something like that,
Okay.
give or take. And then, but it had pokies. And I remember people were losing money in the poker machines, and I remember someone cried and, you know, lost money and said they'd lost their rent and all this sort of stuff. And I gave them money and I just said, look, you know, go home, whatever. And I remember just thinking, this is not why I got into hospitality, and I got out of that pub. But it could have made a lot of money because it was...
Yeah, on people's misery and
yeah,
addictions.
and you know, I remember, you know, and a lot of people have made money that way, but it's just not the way I wanted to make money. You know, I've got into this because I like people smiling and having fun and walking out and sort of, you know, saying that was a great night. So, you know, that's been a driving force, is probably seeing people having fun and probably not as drunk, but you know, you know, so, you know,
Unfortunately, that
yeah,
often
that's
goes hand in
convoluted,
hand.
and so it's just getting them plastered as far as, you know, tequila goes. But you know, that's the driving factor, not money at all.
So you're about to hit the big half century. When's your birthday?
December.
Oh, so it's this year.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself going? Where do you see Bali going? How do you see? Have you thought about it?
Look, I'll always be kind of have Bali as a base. You know, I think because I love it. You know, I love the lifestyle. I love what I'm. You know, I love the life I've made for myself here. I like the idea of being able to go to other places. You know, I'd also like to experience living somewhere else.
Oh, really? Where would you like to live?
Look, I don't know. There's a few places I would like to live in Europe for a little bit somewhere, or I sort of got this idea of living in Tokyo for a little bit too. I kind of just like.
Nice.
I think it'd be kind of a kooky place, but I just don't know, you know how far
You need
down
to
the
speak
list.
Japanese.
Yeah, but it'd just be fun to experience. I know there's a lot of food over there, so a little great food.
Sake.
Yeah, I know. I'm in the middle of a detox right now.
Oh, are you? Good.
In Sydney for.
This is Daisy. She's
hey,
been
Daisy.
very friendly.
Being in Sydney for 7 months, so I shouldn't be thinking about food I can eat in a foreign country. But yeah, look, I'd like to live somewhere else, or have this as a base and come and go. You know, that's the plan. You know, I've been kind of having fun. I've made some. You know, a friend of mine moved into my place, and he's got a music studio, and so we've been making a bit of music. So that's been a fun side of things. So you know, there's always fun things that come out of different, you know, times. So. And
during your times, what did you do any philanthropic work here in Bali, or?
Yeah, well, we sponsor the kids a school.
Oh, really? Whereabouts?
Up near Lavina, up in the, on
with
the way up to
Margaret
Lavina.
Barry? Yeah. Oh,
so we do the Mexicola kids and stuff. So
seriously?
Yeah, which has obviously been a bit hard at the moment, but that was sort of a big thing that we were doing, and taking food up there. And
so you were actually taking food up to the kids?
Up to the families of the kids, yeah. So we sponsored them for, and that was quite interesting actually, because you got letters from them every year, and it's just sort of seeing how the mindset changes. And they were talking about, like, it's quite an interesting thing about the environment.
Yeah.
And they're talking, you know, before it was just like what they were doing or how their day was.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about education of environment and rubbish and stuff. And it's kind of sort of
the
makes
kids
you feel,
are, the local kids are.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it's kind
wow.
of quite good to see that that's, you know, changing or developing in a way that, you know, they're getting more awareness, I guess. And
did any of those kids come and actually work for Mexicola?
We were trying to set up a program where we can do that.
Yeah.
It's, look, we haven't got that yet because they're all quite young. So
yeah, and there's alcohol and
yeah. So they can't really do that just yet.
No.
Maybe at some stage. But yeah, we wanted to do a few bits and pieces like that.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting dilemma we're all finding ourselves in as being business owners.
Yeah.
So how are you going to pace yourself? Have you thought about it? How are you going to pace yourself over the next, let's assume it's another year?
Yeah, look, I don't know. It's a hard one to think about, really, if it's a year. I mean, look, I haven't thought. I compartmentalise it.
Okay.
So I kind of sit there and I might work it out for 2 months, and I sort of give myself a date, and then I look at that date and I go, okay, now I can have a little moment. Yeah. And then I kind of get through that moment, and then sort of just I'm fine for the next couple of months. So I kind of do 2 or 3 month gaps and sort of just work it out from there. And I think that's probably a little bit easy to do, because if I start thinking a year, it gets intimidating, you know. So if you just work in smaller portions and go, right, okay, and then you can kind of maybe enjoy it a little more, you know, and start to think, okay, well, I've got till September now, you know, right, what am I going to do for 3 months? It's not going to be working out, and go from there.
Little bites.
Yeah.
And did you hit a rock bottom?
Look,
you're such a happy person.
Yeah, rock bottom was kind of. There's been not rock bottom. There's been some hard times, obviously. You know, when your life changes, you know, it takes a while to adapt. You So, I mean, when I was in Sydney and I was, meant to be there for 6 weeks, and you get to a stage where it's winter and you're waking up in the morning and you're not sure what you're waking. You wake up and go, what have I got to do today? And you kind of feel like
it's hideous.
Yeah, you're kind of prematurely retired, but you don't have the funds to do it. And you're sort of going, well, what's happening?
And you don't belong.
Yeah, and you're kind of going, well, this is not where I chose to be. So you kind of have interesting moments like that. But at the end of the day, it's you just sort of deal with it, right? And you just kind of think of positive stuff. I think there's a philosophy of life, right? You kind of either your cup's half empty or your cup's half full, and and I think a lot of people, if you're worried about the stuff you don't have, then you're never going to be happy.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad times, and if you're in a good time or a bad time, you always think of the positive, then I think you're always going to be happy to some extent. So.
And I think you genuinely do live like that, and that's why you're so nice to be around, and that's obviously why you've been able to create these extremely happy places.
Yeah. Well, I hope so. I hope everyone's enjoying them. I've enjoyed them.
Well, I'll be glad when it opens up again.
Yeah, also.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Adam, thank you, my darling. It's
A
so
pleasure.
lovely. And it's so lovely to have you back in Bali, back where
back.
you belong.
I know, it's good to be here. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks
you
for having
so
me.
much.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to Adam, and you have a wonderful day. Bye.